He's a champion skateboarder and snowboarder. He's an Olympic gold medalist, and Rolling Stone magazine called him the coolest kid in America at a sickeningly young age of 22 years old. Shaun White is already a legend in the real world, but does he have what it takes to be a gaming hero?
Yep, it's fair to say that the young man with the shock of red hair and the crazy white powder skills has done alright for himself. But if you think that competing at the highest level of a sport for years on end is pressure, that's nothing compared to having your first video game thrust before the merciless glare of games reviewers. Not content with cameo appearances in Shaun Palmer Snowboarding and Amped 2, White is staking his pristine reputation on Ubisoft Montreal, pulling off a gaming 1080 on the virtual slopes. And the Canadian developer's rep is also on the line. Having churned out the likes of Assassin's Creed, Prince of Persia and Splinter Cell in recent years, is the studio's first extreme sports title a leap too far?
I was very nervous about when the game first came out, and I was like freaking out in the fact we've already won some awards for the game, like best sports game and stuff like that, which was like, oh, you know what I mean, there's some expectations, and definitely the hard part obviously is the first game I've ever made, you know what I mean. I didn't know what to expect getting into it, and that's why the next game would be even crazier than this one, because I already know what is possible and what's not, and what we can really push forward. I don't want to just like put my name on something, I want to be involved.
Where Shaun White's snowboarding goes from here is, of course, up to you lot, and whether you buy it, like it and beg for more. But the template for success is obviously a certain Mr. Hawk, who, despite being a boarding ninja, only truly became an international megastar off the back of Neversoft's superb games. So Shaun, it transpires, has turned to the big guy for advice.
He's definitely done well, and I think that the game did well because he was definitely involved, you know what I mean? I talked to him before I did my game, and obviously we didn't talk about what's in the game because I don't think you can even go there, but he was telling me as just advice before I got into it. He's like, you know, make sure you stick to your guns and get the riding the way you want it, get this the way you want it. I mean, we've gone down to music, the way the people talk, the way the mountains look, what people are wearing, you know, how the game's going to actually play. Are you going to play as me? Are you going to play as you? So it's pretty cool, you know, layout we have going.
And since it is his name on the box, woe is the developer who does something Shaun thinks is a bit rubbish.
Oh man, yeah, because I mean, I've been doing that stuff since I was younger and giving feedback on things, and so I'd go in there and just tear it apart. I'm like, no, this is terrible, and you got to get that out, and whose voiceover is that? That's horrible.
As a first effort for everyone involved, Shaun White's snowboarding is not attempting to reinvent the wheel. Instead, it's meant to chart a course between the OTT silliness of SSX and the chilly realism of Amped.
I've played those games, and I was actually even a character in games before, and you know, being a kid and having somebody like, I'm going to put you in a video game, you're like, yeah, it's probably the coolest thing ever. And I was so excited about it, and it just totally didn't turn out the way I imagined it. SSX is like guys with afros, and there's like rainbows shooting out their boards, and you know, all kinds of weird stuff that goes. They do kick flips and stuff with their snowboards, and it's like this total end of the spectrum that's you know, absolutely unrealistic. And then there's other end where it's way too technical. And so I was trying to find this middle ground of like, you could still air up and grind the top of the lift line, you know what I mean? Because it is a video game. But then, you know, it's still realistic enough to where the tricks are the same, all that stuff's the same.
On 360 and PS3, the big innovation comes online. If you're hooked up to the net, the slopes in the game will be populated by real people, like you, even in single player.
And that's probably the coolest thing, is that you can actually get on the mountain, and everybody on the mountain that you're riding is somebody. You know what I mean? You're riding this giant mountain, and there's people from all over the place on your mountain. You can snowball them and, you know, get in wars and whatever. And I think that's cool, because if you're in your game and you go out and you know, work really hard and you win some event and you get some special items, some special jacket, or, you know what I mean, whatever it is, people online will see you wearing that and go, wow, well, where did he get that? I know he must have done something special.
And for the Wii version, of course, it would be terribly bad manners not to use the balance board. Even if the man known as the Flying Tomato took a bit of persuading.
I was nervous about the board. I was really, I don't know, I actually said no to the board right off the bat. Right when someone said board, I imagined some like horrible looking you know, skateboard, snowboard thing with, you know, bright red with some horrible design on it. And what was cool about this was the technology is so much better than back then, and it's really, you know, sensitive to how much you weigh, and the turning, everything's legit. So when I got on the board to do the like sign off demo for it, like, okay, we're gonna do it. I got on the board, I immediately leaned forward, because that's what I would do on snow. I lean forward, you know, you tuck to go faster, and the guy like tucked out, and you know, he starts going faster, and I thought that was such a cool thing.
We've fallen off the balance board loads of times and miraculously lived to tell the tale. That's the kind of balls out, living on the edge style Shaun knows only too well.
I'm skating the ramp, and the kid bails his board into the ramp. He tried to drop in while I was already skating, and I somehow, he rolled into the ramp. As I'm coming up the wall, I jumped over him somehow and landed on top, but his board caught my ankle. And so I landed like, oh, is everybody all right? Is everything cool? I looked at my ankle, and it's just gushing everywhere, and I had to go get 8 stitches. And the kid starts crying, you know. He's like, I hurt Shaun. I'm like, it's cool, man, it's cool. I just got to get out of here.
As far as Shaun's gaming education goes, he's been well schooled in the classics.
Oh, man, I'm a big fan of Mario Kart. I love Mario Kart. I like the N64 better than... I won't say that. I'd say the Wii one's great, but I think the battle mode's pretty terrible compared to the old one.
The old one? What about the SNES version?
Did they have Mario Kart Super Nintendo?
Yeah, that was where it first came out.
Okay.
Did they? Oh, we should point out that Shaun was 5 years old when the original Mario Kart released, which makes us want to cry. Still, we could take him at Guitar Hero.
I actually can't play Guitar Hero. It freaks me out. I always look at the wall afterwards and everything starts moving. Trying to do their solo, it freaked me out. I don't know. I was actually interviewing Slash for this magazine thing I did, and I asked him about it. I'm like, are you good at it? Because I can't play at all. He's like, I'm pretty bad. I thought that was awesome. I was like, okay, if he's bad, it's natural. It's natural.
Yeah, you big name dropper. Shaun White Snowboarding hits PS3, 360, Wii and handhelds this Friday, with a PC version shredding up later in the month.